favorite states to work 10 years ago were Texas and North Carolina. There were 2 states where you could get things done. And now I come back, and it's like a different world. What happened? Just what happened? Now, if you have a place like Charlotte that has high real estate value, you hold your nose and pay. Who cares? I'll just pay the architect more. I'll just pay the inspectors more. I'll sprinkler anything you want because I have a profit to make. There's a differential. Here you have zero. You're underwater. Your real estate will go nowhere unless you actually throw off the existing system, which really fits you badly. So we have this guy, okay? And originally we were told demolish it so we can build an underground auditorium. I mean, an amphitheater here. But the cost of demolition, and it's a beautiful building inside and out, we said, no one uses this street. Why not come over and turn it into a plaza? With this weird little cube here becoming the backstage, and we open it this way. So keeping this, the determinant was the central axis of here and the existing beautiful tree. This is the railway track. And so with Peter and a bunch of people, we did a wonderful auditorium. You can't see it in detail, but it wraps around like that, centered on the stage. And by the way, you can go down here. There's a little kind of throat that comes down where there's a 3rd train track down there. And Peter had the idea that we could bring really cool trains, like dining cars and sleeping cars and so forth, and that and meeting rooms and so forth, and that during market, but also at other times, you could actually bring in these cool historic cars, and people could go down and use them as one more thing to do. So this also has a kind of throat that comes down. And here's a drawing. There's a drawing of a slightly irregular, and notice what happens to the street. You have a wonderful plaza, really nicely scaled. This is the old pit. We haven't changed anything here. This is the old pit. By the way, the pit is very unpleasant because it's so narrow. This just makes it breathe. And all you have to do is dig and pour concrete, and you can project, et cetera, and this could be a very classy place. A nice irregular auditorium like that. Lights at the top everywhere, projection booths on top. That's the way to the train. By the way, Peter and I designed this so you could actually have dining tables all the way up. They're wide enough to have round and square and quite large dining tables. You can actually imagine the food trucks on top, and just stacked dining tables, So instead of standing up and eating pizza, which is what I was reduced to when I was here, I could actually sit in this incredibly elegant place and perhaps even see a show. A do-it-yourself dining theater. And then this is the back with the train track, and this is what it looks now. And then we went inside and we said, these lofts are incredible. Look at them. They're so elegant. Look at that guy. Look at that, 13 feet high, just like a loft, top to ceiling, absolutely beautiful things. And of course, it doesn't take very much to draw it. We even know how many you can build. There's 7 floors, unit per floor 6, total of 42 units. Solid building, really classy feeling, beautiful concrete floor on the top. You don't even have to change the windows because, but perhaps you will if you wish. Very large apartments. Look at them. Look at the size of that master bedroom. Look at that loft. These are 2, 1, 2, and possibly 3-bedroom units. Best units in the area. And this is something which I think it's completely unecological to demolish it. It's also idiotic. So the university, so we have a mall, one of the 3,000 dead malls in America. And normally what we do, our firm wrote a book on it, and what we do is we retrofit them into town centers. We keep the mall, take the parking lots, put the cars in a parking garage, and add to them apartments, hotels, and offices. So together with the shops, you get town centers, beautifully located on the principal arterials. The land has already been denatured by the parking lot. The neighbors would rather have you than an empty mall. And so we've been making these 4-story town centers all over the West, all over the South, nice looking town centers. And then of course, who has money for a 4-story anything? And besides, who wants another one? because this would compete with your downtown and possibly be cooler than the downtown, in the same market. So this time we thought of something else. It's owned by a High Point University, which is to say it has a mission beyond just making money. Obviously, it has a mission to its students, to the young people. What happens after they graduate? Why not turn it into an incubator called the Ink Pad, okay, which is a pad for incorporation. And this is the idea they came up with. There's the mall, absolutely interchangeable. A couple of things that are live. The Target, there's already a department of High Point University. There's a potential park back here, although it's really a drainage facility. And then there's a restaurant. There's a restaurant here which does well, which is called Liberties, and the students come to. And by the way, the landscaping is quite nice. So we do this. We take the mall and we create a camp. We permit the young architecture students of the many colleges here who graduate with lots of skills and have nothing to do. They can't even find a job, and when they find a job, they're detailing stair rails. So why not bring that young talent, get them together with the young entrepreneurs, and have them build really incredibly cool little houses? On the parking lot, if that parking lot is thick enough to hold a truck with a container on it, it can certainly hold a container without the truck. In other words, it's a footing. And so we can allocate it and have the kids come in and build their dwellings here. And then on the inside of the mall, so that's what it is now, and this is what we're proposing. So you begin, this village, by the way, yes, the fire engine can get through, don't worry about it. But all this stuff was full of ideas of the kids building this stuff. And of course, on the inside of the mall, there it is. Unbelievably exciting little village. Just totally exciting, because it's not a monoculture of design. Every year you probably graduate 1,000 architecture students full of energy, full of skill, full of idealism, and they're accompanied by 40,000 classmates that want to start businesses. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. And this is what they can inhabit. And then this is the decanting. Once the commerce is successful inside the mall, they can actually come out and build a proper street with 2-story buildings. This stuff actually has mortgages. This stuff out here. The other stuff doesn't. Here's the mall, and what we're doing in the mall is punching holes to make courtyards. Okay? By the way, just to give you a sense of scale, from here to here, that's the walkway of the mall, and these are holes that form courtyards so that you can have studios inside where the shops are. I'll show you how that works. In the back, there are more experimental stuff. There's a junkyard from which the metal guys can actually make things. And then there's, of course, a place where they can actually grow food. This is the existing hotel where they can grow food. And the food you can actually cook in a legal kitchen because there's a food court. So that incubates that. For once we have a kitchen that's legal. And so it's just potential. The potential to start a business. And by the way, the minute you succeed, you have to, it's differential, it's highly managed. And it works. So the malls can have the meeting hall people have been looking for, tech and electronics. These are the big boxes. Tech and electronics, fashion and textiles, photo, video, music. So what is this about? Well, I heard that you were full of talent of photography. You're full of talent as for craft and workplace. You're full of talent about finishes. I mean, this place is full of craftsmanship. And you have these students that actually want to make things. It isn't just about electronics. It isn't just about virtual. They want to make things. So let's put together those two assets on this mall and actually catch the students after they graduate, after grad school, after school, and incubate a whole youth culture here, which is the economy. And then they come and they stay because this is the only place. So you have 30 universities, none of which are doing this. So suddenly High Point University becomes not only itself, which is a particular niche, a very special niche, but it actually becomes the mothership of the postgraduate North Carolina students. I think the High Point University, with its management skills and its ability to make decisions, because it's not exactly a democracy, as you probably know, it has an ability to make decisions, which is absolutely crucial. And the people who've been donating to this university are interested not only in the university, but in the town. And notice that I haven't called for any donations for the town. The town is low cost. But if you're interested in the town as a place that has an economic future, this would be the place to go, the InkPad. So anyway, the young people themselves came up with these things, and there are magazines emerging like this, people making anything. This magazine comes out every month. They make robots, they make unbelievable stuff. And I keep saying, it isn't just about the virtual. It isn't just about the abstract. It isn't just about financing. The real satisfaction for this generation is making things. They want to make a bicycle. They will buy a locally made bicycle. They will buy a locally made pie. They want to know where their locally made lamb comes from. It's all becoming local again. It's very 1870. I think this 21st century is a lot more like the 19th than like the 20th. A lot of initiative and very light government regulation. The inline spaces, which are the shops inline, in the upper floor they can be studios. In the lower floor they can be incubators with the shops and the machinery and so forth. And then this is what it looks like. These are the shops, and notice that they're blue. Light blue is more public. They have their own shops, and then they sleep in the back. And these green areas are the holes that come down to form the courtyards, which makes all those little shops habitable. And then on the large rooms, you have some fixed offices at the edge, and then progressively looser and looser spaces that can be continually rearranged depending on what's going on. Sometimes you might need a very large space. Sometimes you might need more of a rabbit warren. By the way, all of this is all sprinklered. It's all designed for very, very high capacity. So this is actually quite conservative in terms of code. Wonderful apartments designed. You see how they work? This is the mall. You take off a bay of the roof. You have a courtyard like that. And if you look at this, see, this is the walkway, the circulation of the mall. You have your studio in front, your kitchen, your courtyard, which gives you the light for the bedrooms on both sides, etc. Okay, now, a conventional inspector, such as is currently constituted in High Point, would find 20 reasons, none of them valid, to prevent this, including that it's not zoned that way, that this, what happened, you can just imagine. A field day of negativity. Because there's a field day of negativity at the level of what tile you can use on the floor if it's 3/8 of an inch too thick. Okay, so imagine something like this. And yet this is inhabited by crowds of people. This is possible. Okay, you just have to allow it to happen. Some nice drawings. We had a couple of volunteer kids from nearby colleges in 2 days. They said they wanted to know, this is what I can do with two secans, 3 secans, 4 secans, 5 secans. Beautiful stuff. Secans and sliding glass doors. So we can make these shanty towns all the way around. Look at them. Absolutely awesome place. By the way, and this is done by a 4th-year architecture student in a nearby college. So imagine the multiplication of this creativity, with 50 and 60 young architects with 50 and 60 buddies doing this. It could just really take off. And then finally in the back, I described already alternate energy, building technology. There's always a back. I always like to have a backstage. This is the front stuff that's really nice. The backstage is where the dirtier stuff happens, where the tools are kept, where the farming takes place. And then, of course, we need parking. So we're keeping a swath of parking here near the Target, and this can continue. By the way, if any of these department stores remains, Dillard's, perfect. We can buy our clothing. There's absolutely no reason for anybody there to leave. It would simply provide more mixed use. I don't know where the rendering is. I showed you the rendering. Okay, now here is another thing. This is the shopping center from 1960, designed by Peter Freeman's father, and it has It was very elegant at one point, and it's called the College Village. This is the tail end of High Point University approaching, it's in full expansion mode, approaching, and it has a road that actually leads exactly nowhere. Okay, this road leads nowhere. Could we turn this into a village? As it happens, one of the young people in the team wrote a thesis last semester studying the relationship of 40 American universities to their main streets, from Stanford to Vermont to Princeton, all of them. And 36 out of the 40, kind of randomly selected, 36 out of the 40 straddle the main street. You know, it's just part of the main street, i.e. your main street, the main street we're making. And there's 6 that don't. And if it's a mile away, it just doesn't work. Mile away is too far. And what they do is they develop a localized, specialized main street for the students. High Point University is a mile away. So it's a classic instance in which it needs to develop its own localized thing. And the kids are already going to the shopping center, but the shopping center isn't very nice. So could we convert this parking field with its stores here into a main street? And here come the liner buildings again. A liner building is a one-sided building that has a good side and a bad side for parking. So we keep the bulk of the parking visible from the street, which we call a B grid, because we're not trying to repair that street. That street's pretty miserable. What we want is this good street coming from the town, which we've deflected. See, this street goes first. We deflect it into here. It enters seamlessly. And suddenly you arrive at a main street with intersection, masking building, a square. And on this side are 2 or 3 stories of residential. Graduate student, could be the university hotel they're looking for. And on the other side are the shops that are useful stores. Yes, some entertainment stores, but useful stores. The market remains. So this is the A grid here. The gas station is rebuilt. These are pads for the food they like. So what you do is get something that's double-sided. This is A grid, which is to say really nice to walk on, and then this is B grid. So it's a two-sided thing. It's a two-sided thing, and there's a lot of capacity in here. So that's design, and it looks like this. Okay, so this is the shopping center rebuilt to the old elegant way of William Freeman was your father? William Freeman in 1960, really elegant 1950, you know,